Hi everyone, Anton with IntellCRE here. In this video, we're going to look at the importance of sensitivity analysis, or in other words, stress testing our analysis with respect to the most crucial assumptions that we're making. And we're going to look at how you can work with and implement sensitivity analysis within the IntellCRE platform easily. So in order to begin, I'm going to edit, or in other words, going to open up the analysis form for this property. And note that some of the most crucial assumptions that we're making when underwriting a deal are assumptions around the pro forma rents, assumptions around the pro forma rent growth, or in other words, how our rents are going to grow year over year, projected into the future. And we're making some very crucial assumptions in the value and financing section, and in particular in the acquisition and sale assumptions, such as what is going to be the whole term for this project? What is going to be the purchase price for this property? What is going to be the exit cap rate? The exit cap rate together with is probably the most important assumption in the whole underwriting, because the exit cap rate together with the NOI in the last year of the whole term is going to determine the exit value for the property, or in other words, is going to define what the sale proceeds are going to be once we sell the property at the end of the whole term. And of course, that's where most of the money is going to be made. So even a slight variation in these assumptions, and that variation can result in market cycles, shifts in demand, and a lot of external factors. A slight variation in these assumptions can change an otherwise great deal into an average deal or even a bad one. So it's very important that we use the sensitivity analysis tools available in the IntellCRE platform for every underwriting that we do. And let's now look at how we can do that. So it's very simple. Below the property value estimates and below our financings, we have a sensitivity analysis button. So we press that button, and here we basically have four sensitivity analyses that we can enable. First of all, the exit cap rate sensitivity, purchase price sensitivity, pro forma rent growth sensitivity, and our whole term sensitivity. So these are the four of the most important assumptions in the whole underwriting. So once we enable these, we have an option to choose how many steps do we want. So I'm going to explain this by actually navigating to the bottom of my screen and clicking on the sensitivity analysis tab, and then rolling up the bottom panel. And we're going to start with the exit cap rate sensitivity. So the number of steps here is representing how many different scenarios we want to look at. In this case, 7. And the middle scenario is basically going to show what the assumption is in our underwriting. So in our sale assumptions here, the exit cap rate is set at 4.79. So that's the middle column. And below that, we see what is going to be the exit value. So in this case, because our whole term is 7 years, what is going to be the price of the property once we sell this deal 7 years down the road. Below that, we see our IRR. So this is going to be our internal rate of return. And below that, we see our equity multiple for this deal. And so this is the exit cap rate sensitivity showing 7 steps. And we can also here set the step or the increment. So if I change this to 0.1, this is going to calculate, and you see that as we go to the left, we have 4.79, which is our current assumption, and as we go to the left, we see this exit cap rate lowered by the 0.1% increment, and lowered by yet another 0.1 and yet another here. And below these exit cap rates, we can see how the exit value, IRR, and equity multiple, how those crucial returns would change, right? So the lower the cap rate, the higher the returns, because the higher the exit value. And as we go to the right from the middle column, precisely the opposite. So we're adding in increments of 0.1, and we're seeing the corresponding exit value, IRR, and equity multiple. And as you can see, the exit value is lower, so are the other return metrics. Now, the same scenario with the purchase price step. So let's make the purchase price step $150,000, and let's click on the purchase price sensitivity tab here, and we'll see the same. So the same structure. So in the middle column, we see the purchase price that we've entered. And as we go to the left, we see a purchase price lowered by the $150,000 increment. And we see that the metrics are getting better because we buy the deal at the cheaper price, of course. And as we go to the right, we see the price being increased and the return metrics getting decreased, right? Then we have our pro forma rent growth sensitivity, and as a step, we have 0.5. So if we switch to the pro forma rent growth tab here, we'll see that that the middle column represents our current assumption for the pro forma rent growth, which is 4%, and the corresponding return metrics. And as we go to the left, we see a lower pro forma rent growth, resulting in much lower returns. And on the other hand, if we go to the right, the far right, 5.5, we see the return metrics getting improved. And finally, we have our whole term sensitivity, where the step is 1 year. So if we switch to the whole term sensitivity analysis tab, we will see that how the deal is going to look like if we hold it for 7 years, how it's going to look like if we hold it for 8 years, 9 years, and so on. And on the other hand, if we go to the left, how it's going to look like if we hold it for a shorter period of time. Now, with the whole term sensitivity, we have to be careful if we're using financing, and in particular, if the loan term is going to be lower than the whole term that we're projecting here, then what's going to happen is that we're going to have to pay off the loan before the end of our whole term. So that's going to be a very, very large negative cash flow that will be factored in. So just make sure that we're never looking at sensitivity whole term that is higher than the long term setup that we have in our acquisition financing. Okay, so there you have it. That's how you can use sensitivity analysis easily in the IntellCRE platform. You can have this sensitivity included in all your deal reports, websites, brochures to further justify the pricing that you've determined to be the optimal for the deal. And you can justify a lower price, higher price to your clients, partners, sellers, or buyers, thanks to the sensitivity analysis tools available within IntellCRE. So we hope you'll find this video helpful, and we'll see you in the next video.